Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our evening Sabbath class, 25th of March, 2023. So what we're going to do is close the Sabbath out with what we started with Friday night and this morning for the Sabbath class, and that's dealing with what are the questions being raised, what are the lost books revealing to us as Hebrews. So we're going to some of this. Everybody know that we can go to our YouTube channel, Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. It's a lot of information given, and the videos will connect dots for you, bring you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving on the channel and through the videos, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai by the Lord of Hosts. So I want to welcome the Prophets of Awakening and welcome to our evening Shabbat class. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, evening Shabbat prayer, Psalms, and we do some current events. They don't need to know information. Then we go into some Q&A and to comments, and if anybody wants some dialogue. Okay. So with that being said, it's moment of silence for the Lord of Hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these final moments of our captivity. Oh Lord, we come before Thee at the end of your Shabbat day, bow down with great respect for our Redeemer. Lord, you confess to your prophet Isaiah that you would return unto us and that you would pour out your spirit upon us. And this you have done in great, you have done, O Lord, in great passion. Because of this, Lord, we have found you within the Holy Scriptures. O Lord, behold, thou hast made the heavens and the earth. By thy great power and thy stretched out arm, there is nothing too hard for thee. And knowing all these things, O Lord, we eagerly await thy coming, the day in which thou shalt break the yoke of our oppressor. Peace be unto you. Okay. Read the Psalms. Okay. Okay. Let me read Psalms 64. It's plot and punishment. The Psalm of David. It says, hear my voice, O God, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whip their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They could commune of laying snares privately. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. But God shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away, and all men shall fear and shall declare the works of God. For they shall wisely consider of his doings. The righteous shall be glad in the Lord and shall trust him, and all the upright in heart shall glory. So that was Psalm 64, and it was a plot and punishment is a Psalm of David. Okay. With that being said, nobody will have no comments on that. We're going to go into our current events. Okay.
a lot of us is trying to make it every single day. It's getting harder and harder, no matter who you are, where you come from. But for us, we focus on the African diaspora. Black people all over the world. That's what we do. That's our model. That's not going to change no time
Shalom,
soon.
bro.
We engage in every kind of content, for us in the community. But as I
Shalom.
sit here right now in Cape Town, South Africa, I was actually in Johannesburg. We came to Cape Town as of yesterday. As I looked at the money, we are the only group in America who's reminded of our traumatic experience in America daily. And the one way that we're reminded about traumatic experience in America daily is through money. Now, I'm holding 50 South African Rand right here. And you can see the great brother Nelson Mandela on the money. And of course, on the back, you got, the majestic lion. Well, when South Africans look at their money, they look at a freedom fighter, they look at a hero. What do we look at when we look at our money, brothers and sisters? We look at George Washington, slave owner. We look at Andrew Jackson, slave owner. In our country, we look at Confederate statues all over the place of people that were slave owners, pedos, the worst of the worst. This is what we have to look at to be reminded daily of our trauma and what we have dealt with. It's not just George Floyd's and anyone else. It is the daily trauma that we are reminded. No other group in America is reminded of their trauma daily. See, psychologically, Black people are being engaged in warfare every day. No other group in America got to look at people that traumatically harm their people for hundreds of years. Nobody has to do that, right? Now, for me, it's better for me to look at Nelson Mandela every day on some money than look at Andrew Jackson. Because at least when I look at Nelson Mandela, I'm not reminded of slavery, not whatsoever. Now, another reason why we have issues and problems in America is that we are in a country that we don't see Black people owning much and don't control much, not in government. I know in South Africa they have certain issues that came, coming out of apartheid, but let's call it what it is. In America, we don't see the billboards, majority of us. When I'm in South Africa, I see nothing but Black people on the billboards. Others here and there are mostly Black people. The banks, you see Black people being the people that's running the banks. You see the president, of course, South Africa, Black man, the parliament, Black people. That's actually, right for us to see. In America, we live in a land that we don't have no representation like that. And if they do have some representation for us, they have to be bootleg, sell out, bootlicking, yes, bootlicking, Black people. They cannot fight for the community. They can't do for the community. That's just the way it's been. Now, for us, and even in our relationships, right? The majority of jobs are going to be provided for and ran by Black people. That has an effect even on your personal relationships with your woman. See, in America, the majority of the jobs is provided for by them folks. And them folks have a system that circumvents the Black man in his provision. For instance, if they don't want to be with you for whatever the reason, and they get in hard times, they can just go to the government. Now, in South Africa, the Black man is respected. And if they get in trouble, they can't just go run to the government. They got to make sure and think about what they're going to do before they make certain moves that change their life, like babies, etc. The disrespect of Black men is not here. Black men are honored, Black men are revered, Black men are respected, period. Now, of course, no country is perfect, but I'm talking about in relation to us as, in America and what we deal with about our traumatic experience. We're always looking at, the race soldier. Listen, when I'm here, I'm extremely relaxed. You people have told me in certain videos, man, Phil, you look very relaxed. I'm very relaxed here. Very, very relaxed. And, to all you Black folks that always like to be saying, I ain't going nowhere. Nobody wants you here. I keep telling you that. My message is not to you. None of my message is directed to you. It's directed to Black people that say, you know what? I'm not going to spend my whole life fighting with a group of people it's just who they are. Let me tell you something. When I travel and talk to people, the same things they did in America is the same things they did in South Africa, the same things they did in Kenya, The same thing they did in Ghana when they was colonized, the same thing they did in Nigeria. These people are the same everywhere they go. They do not change. Even in 2023, trying to change them is like trying to tell a dog to stop barking. That's what a dog do. A dog barks all day long. Now, maybe you could minimize the barking with certain means, but they're dogs. They bark. Another thing I tell you, brothers and sisters, why it's good to even come out here. Because some of you try to judge the African continent based off of West Africa. And listen, every African country is different, so I don't want to say West Africa as a whole. It wouldn't be right for me to say that. But some people have told me, well, they like to jack up the prices. But I don't want to speak on South Africa. South Africa, that's illegal. If you jack up the price on somebody and it's reported, they get charged for that. They go to jail. Racism is illegal here, okay? They cannot be racist here. I mean, they can try, but they can go to jail for that. In America, it is not illegal to be racist whatsoever. People can be racist towards you. They are incentivized to be racist towards you. And I will tell you, just for me, just for my spirit, I'm very at peace when I'm here. So at peace. I got to go back in a few days, and I'm like, oh, God. But you know what? Every time I come, I get a great game plan, great ideas, and now I got something to really laid out. So now I'm gonna enact that plan. Now, of course, when some of you are talking like me and thinking like this, they will say, "Well, why haven't you went yet?" So them people are like gnats and trolls. Let me tell you something. I've been in South Africa for about a week, and you know the response I have gotten from people, from South Africans. Brother Phil, we really love your show. Man, I can't believe you over here. Man, you just showed up in the mall. I didn't even know. I will stop by multiple people in the mall. I'll stop by multiple people at the hotel. Two Black American families I'll stop by. They told me, man, look, I watch him every day. He was husband, wife, kids. Another couple, husband, wife, kids. Black people are still having families. Don't believe that Black people don't have no families. They got families, and the whole family is traveling. You know what those families said? Brother, I watch your content, and I appreciate what you do. And I brought my whole family, and it's beautiful to see. More and more Black Americans are traveling. Now, I would say, this is my opinion, I would say go and see it for yourself. Definitely see it for yourself. Some countries you can visit and get the vibe and enjoy it, and some countries are maybe good for you. Like some people like Ghana like that. They go to Ghana, it's conducive for them. Certain countries may be conducive for certain people due to business, the way things are ran, and that can be something else to think about as well. Also, one last thing I need to say before I wrap this up. Those of you who do come, please tip. Because the people, they like I say, if you think service workers struggle in America, you better believe they're struggling here, right? Tip. Now, I'm gonna tell you how much to tip, because some people may not tell you. When you come here, especially in South Africa, you can use your credit card. American Express you can use in certain locations, but definitely your Visa and your MasterCard. You can use it here, okay? Use your card for everything that you can, like America. Get cash, and use it to tip. Now, the average tip that I would say to tip people, whether it's your service work, all your service workers, your driver that you have, give them at least a 300 to 400 rand tip. I would say that much, 300 to 400 rand. Your person at the restaurant that's serving you, 300 to 400 rand. Everybody that do something for you.
Okay. Any comments on that? Okay. Yeah. So got one more right here. It's okay.
Okay. 2017 disclosed that Black veterans were more than likely denied VA benefits than their white counterparts. In fact, it says that 57% of Black veterans that applied for benefits were denied, to that of only 43% of white veterans who applied were denied. And it also said that Black veterans are a little bit more likely to actually have PTSD than their white counterparts due to fighting in, whatever war they've gone to and dealing with racism from their white counterparts. And so a gentleman by the name of Richard. He co-founded an organization that actually filed a Freedom of Information Act to the Veterans Affairs to see what was going on, because he said they were given some reports from years prior, but it wasn't really detailed, and it disclosed what he knew in that Black veterans were being discriminated against in regards to getting their benefits. And he also went on to say how horrible that the United States government actively and aggressively recruits Black men and Black women too, because they're also a part of that. But yet, when it comes down to actually helping Black veterans once they come home, it's like, we don't know you, right? Or we're not going to give you anything. And a lot of them said, well, I knew something was wrong with me, but I didn't really know what it was. And when they found out, they wouldn't apply. And again, they were denied. And one veteran, he said when he was in the Vietnam War, he witnessed some pretty horrible things, and it stayed with him. And again, once he tried to get help, he was denied. And so hopefully with this new report, the Veterans Affairs will do something, because they're saying now, well, now that we have this information, we're going to put things in place to make sure that everybody's served fairly. But if you really think about it, and those of us who know veterans, we know sometimes they're denied not once, but twice and over and over and over again. And it takes years in some cases for them to actually be heard and get some sort of help. Now, normally that is financially, because they are due that money if they were injured in any way, shape, or form in the military. But the United States government, internal veteran affairs, they take veterans through so much. And now we're learning they take Black veterans through it the most. And of course, we've heard a whole lot of stories back in the day, World War I and II, of our Black servicemen coming back, and some of them even being lynched in their uniform. So hearing that they're being denied veteran benefits is not surprising at all, because that's just the way it works in the United States, right?
Okay. I can attest to that. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay, so I got a little need to know information right here. It's okay, let's see. Yeah, so this happening right now as we speak, and it's tied to the revelations that we've been dealing with. Let's check it out. Let's see if I can get some comments on it. Okay, here we go.
Been hearing a lot about reparations coming out of San Francisco, California, where a committee has come up with a number of what the Black residents of San Francisco should get. And off the top, they said that number is about $5 million per Black resident. And after they give that, for 250 years, they should get almost $100,000, and that's per year, in addition to being able to purchase a house for $1 and having all of their personal debt eliminated. I really like that. But the NAACP there in San Francisco, they don't like it at all. And in fact, they've rejected the $5 million price tag per Black resident and tweeted this instead. We strongly believe that creating and funding programs that can improve the lives of those who have been impacted by racism and discrimination is the best path forward toward equality and justice. Well, they don't want the money, but they want programs and education and things like that. And so, of course, they got a lot of backlash. Because it's like, well, first of all, who are you to decide that Black people should not get money, right? Now, of course, since they had all the backlash, they went on to say this. Check it out.
The NAACP wants to see more details on San Francisco's reparations plan. Today, the organization held a news conference at the Third Baptist Church to ask the City Reparations Committee and supervisors for more action. NAACP wants clear research statistics behind each idea to know who qualifies and where that money is going to come from.
But not one member of that board said we support reparations with cash payments and with a definite plan of how to do it and a timeline to do it.
Reparations Committee will complete and submit a final plan in June.
So that was Reverend Amos Brown. He is also the president
Reverend
there
Amos.
of the NAACP chapter. And he says, well, we need some clarification. We'd like to see more action, you know, trying to backtrack from what they said. And my thing is this, did y'all think that people was going to be all right with that? All right, what you saying, nah, don't give him the money. And, you know, we hear that from racists all the time. Other groups of people, white people, Asians, Hispanics, I don't give them no money. My family didn't own slaves. We hear all of that from them. But here come our folks talking about they don't need the money. Well, you shouldn't be surprised. I want y'all to go look up the Big Six. And it was a committee of 6 very prominent men in the 60s that was commissioned by that of John F. Kennedy. They were to go back to their respective organizations and pretend like they were pursuing justice for Black people, but don't allow them to do too much because we can't have them disrupting, you know, the way it goes here in America and getting in the way of white people's lives. And so that's what they did. And don't get mad at me, it's just the truth. One of those people that were on the committee was Martin Luther King Jr. And it is said that they got about $1.5 million between all of them. Now, remember, that's a lot of money back then to go back and pretend that they were about the business of Black people. And so I say all that to say nothing has changed. It's still the same. You got these old Negroes, and listen, it is what it is, okay? That think that they have the right to speak for Black people and pretend like they're trying to help Black people, but they're not. The other thing before I leave here is we know that the NAACP was not created by all Black people. In fact, a whole bunch of white people sat at the helm of the NAACP. So as Malcolm X asked us to think about, why would anybody white want to be ahead of anything Black? We really need to ask ourselves that, right? Is it to really help, or is it to make sure that we are not unifying, but to give the illusion of unity, but to really keep us from unifying? I think.
Okay. Any comments on that? What you think about that?
The whole Black boule.
Okay. Business as usual, huh?
Yes, sir. We shouldn't be surprised about it.
Okay. Yeah, I got one more on that. Then we're going to our Q&A and going to the lesson.
CP, National Association of Advancement of Colored People. Is that right, Ravana? Okay. They're for Black people and helping and assisting Black people. The NAACP has rejected, though, reparations for slavery, the proposal, money in the hands of the descendants of slaves. What goes here? An interesting, division between the NAACP and the city of San Francisco unfolded Tuesday on exactly what's the best way to rectify the systemic conditions affecting Black Americans following an ongoing centuries-long struggle. After years of deliberation on the topic of reparations, the San Francisco Committee has finally gained traction on a wide-scale proposal to dispense cash allowances to descendants of slaves in the city. These are the committee's provisions. City-appointed committee proposed $5 million payouts to Black adults who are descendants of enslaved people with a guaranteed annual income of at least $97,000 for 250 years. The committee also proposed the elimination of personal debt and homes in San Francisco with a price tag of just $1 a family. Okay. Despite the traction gaining in the community, the NAACP swiftly voiced their disapproval of the proposal. And I said to the team, who?
The best way to burn fat and get in shape, it's not keto, paleo, fast.
Well, now the president of the chapter out there, Jason Whitlock, maybe? No. Put his picture back up. Now let's tell you, he said, nah, you don't want $5 million. Baptist Church pastor Reverend Amos Brown is San Francisco NAACP president. He tweeted out his rejection of the proposal in favor of more system-oriented solutions. The tweet from Brown and the NAACP voice displayed their conditions of disapproval, mentioning several institutional concerns regarding healthcare, education, jobs, housing, and a cultural center. Here's the response. There have been those both in large support of the proposal and those harshly critical of it. Those more critical say it's simply too economically encumbering to the city, or they oppose the idea of reparations. Now, do you see why I asked you if Jason and Candace had taken over the NAACP in San Francisco? I think it's a fair question. Not the case. Raphael Mandelman, a district supervisor, District 8, San Francisco, spoke up in response to the backlash to remind the community of a larger purpose. Raphael Mandelman made a plea for sanity when he shared this with ABC News. Those of my constituents who lost their minds about this proposal, it's not something we're doing or we would do for other people. It's something we would do for our future, for everybody's collective future. Now, I don't quite understand that quote either, but okay. Despite the approval made by the Board of Supervisors, among the protesting voices are those who blast the proposal, such as Xavier Durosay. Xavier, former renowned BLM activist, suddenly reversed course. He reversed many of his ideas when he became a pundit for a conservative advocacy group, PragerU. Am I saying it correct? Ravonna will tell us. PragerU, yeah. Okay. Maybe I did it on purpose, Ravonna, because I don't really care about the group, but okay. Disgusting. Okay, that's what he called this proposal on Fox News and claimed that this is a method of gaslighting Black Americans. He also had this to say after his appearance with her. After my appearance on Fox News, I see articles asking who I am. I am the left's worst nightmare. I nearly spent my entire life believing their lies until deep diving into the truth. Now I expose the America last Marxist and remind people how privileged we are to be Americans. Is it Fox News put out that statement for him? Okay, as he gets his stipend for each show. I have no information. The team has not confirmed that. That was my comments, Ravonna. Okay, I need you to weigh in now before I get to the rest of this.
Yeah, what's confusing to me is, so these ideas about reparations haven't been adopted yet. They won't vote on it till June. So they're just, weighing several different options. So coming out strongly against one option that would put the money directly into the hands of people who have been victimized by the legacy of slavery so early or at all is ridiculous to me, especially when, I'm really partial to reparations in the form of systemic change so that it can have an impact and lasting impact. I'm also really partial to cash reparations. I don't see why you can't have both. So shooting down an idea, again, just so early on in the process that is going to benefit a lot of people and to come so strongly against it. I was just baffled by the story. I thought I read the article title wrong the first time I read it. I was I just can't wrap my head around it.
And it raises other questions. And again, I'm a journalist, and it makes my little spidey sense go up. And I say, what else is going on here? And who stands to benefit? It's just a blanket question I have. And I would like to see what emerges in the weeks and years to come. Why can't we have both? And by the way, you've done it for other people. So knock it off, okay? And I don't want to disparage the Reverend, okay? I mean, he could have been on a party line with Jason and Candace, but this could just be his doing. But to shoot out this statement as if, all Black people agree with you, like you said, such a strong reaction. No. What do you mean no? And I don't know what the other measures in it are, Ravonna, but if I could move to San Francisco or just, and get my dollar house and the $97,000 for the next 250 years, okay. And guess what? The descendants of slaves deserve this and more, because who built this country and didn't get anything for it except hurt, pain, death, torture, and robbed of their history? That would be, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I think one of the backlashes against these proposals is often that we're taking money from white people and giving it to black people. And then there's always a strong reaction from white people that, well, I didn't own slaves. My family didn't own slaves. But it's not, reparations is not like me giving you, Sharon, $5 right now, right? It's tax dollars, which you're already paying. So you just go into a million other things already.
And bang. I apologize.
And everybody is paying in to the taxes. So it's not just they're taxing, there's a special tax for white people to create reparations. It's not how these programs work. So like really, and I think underlying all of the strong oppositions, especially from white people in America to reparations is, lingering racism is what it is.
Perfect button. It's the perfect button.
Okay. Any comments? If nobody have no comments, we're going to go into our Q&A. Anybody have any questions or comments about this morning or last night? Or anything they want to discuss before we go into the final conversation about this lost books and what they're revealing to us as Hebrews today? Any questions or comments about anything? Okay, yeah. So Friday night we kind of dealt with the four beasts, and how the lost books was what was told us was skewed in a way in the Daniel, but we went to Ezra, and Ezra kind of gave us more information. Then we went to Second Barak, and Second Barak gave us a truckload of information to consider and use as to try to connect some dots with them. And then we came back this morning and we was dealing with the Psalm 119 and how serious and how committed David was to the Lord of hosts and to his laws and his statutes and all that. And then we went to Jasher to see how what Jasher had to say about Ada and Zillah being Lamech wives, but Ada and Zillah happened to come from Adam's lineage, whereas Lamech came from Cain's lineage. So at that point, those two manner of people came together through marriage. Lamech married into Adam's lineage. The reason I bringing that up is a lot of people don't know that, but yeah, that actually happened. When you understand who Cain is a product of the serpent sleeping with Eve, and so the Most High, just like we had the curses on us now, people can't famine. They think it's some kind of excuse that we use to say that we're under the curses. But he cursed Cain descendants. They're under curse. Said he's going to be a vagabond and all this in the earth, and that he's going to always be raping and pillaging other people to get gain. And so, we act like this is some far-fetched thing. Most High cursing people all over the place. Okay? Cursed Miriam. Okay? He cursed Gehazi. Right? So with that being said, we're going to go into another topic that I was dealing with, shine some light on. It was the let me get it. Yeah, the understanding of the Gentiles. Let's deal with that. Okay. So with this understanding of the Gentiles, I'm gonna get it really like this. I'm in Jubilees. Okay, chapter 1. Let me see what it's saying. Okay, yeah. Let me get it. Okay, books all over the place. Okay. Okay. Well, first of all, I'm gonna go to Jubilees 21 and 10. It's shining a light on the fact that the book of Enoch and the book of Noah is referenced. So if this reference, we know that our forefathers were dealing with them, and there was such thing as a book of Enoch and such thing as a book of Noah. Well, let me get that right quick. Okay, says Jubilees chapter 10. Okay. Chapter 10. Tripping. Okay, 8. Okay, chapter 10, 29 and 31. It says Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt was very good, and he did not go in to the land of his inheritance to the west, that is to the sea, and he dwelt in the land of Lebanon eastward and westward from the border of Jordan and from the borders of the sea. Ham his father is Canaan. Ham his father, Cush, Mizraim, and his brothers said unto him, you have settled in a land which is not yours, and which did not fall to you by lot. Do not do so. If you do, you and your sons will be conquered in the land and be accursed, right? Through a war. And by war you have settled, and by war will your children fall, and you will be rooted out forever. Do not live in the land of Shem. For to Shem and to his seed did it come by their lie. Here you go, the curse part of it. I think I was reading the wrong verses, so I'm just gonna deal with this. Just a curse, dealing with the curse, person being cursed. You know, people act like that's foreign when we tell them about Deuteronomy 28. So he says, cursed are you, and cursed will you will be beyond all the sons of Noah, by the curse by which we bound ourselves by an oath in the presence of the holy judge and in the presence of Noah and our fathers. So what is he? So when you understand this right here, let's go back and you see that we're gonna read it again. Canaan saw the land. This is when they sent them out after the flood. They got off the boat and they were sent out. They made oaths and land was given to them by lot, and they was on their way to their different areas of land that they was allotted to. And Canaan came across Shem's land on his way to his land, and says Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river of Egypt was very good, and he did not go into his land of his inheritance to the west, that is to the sea, and he dwelt in the land of Lebanon eastward and westward from the borders of Jordan and from the borders of the sea. So this is where Abraham and his father Terah and all them is down in Mesopotamia, because Canaan stole the land stole Shem's lot. And so it says, Ham his father and Cush and Mizraim his brothers said unto him, you have settled in a land which is not yours, and which did not fall to us by lot. Do not do so. If you do, check it out. If you do, you and your sons will be conquered in the land and be accursed through a war. By war you have settled, and by war will your children fall, and you will be rooted out forever. So what are you talking about? Here we go. tie your shoes up. Okay, so let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 15. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 15. So we're in Deuteronomy chapter 15, right? And we're gonna pick it up, verse 1. The Lord's promise to Abraham, right? You figure that, you know, these conversations with Abraham, the Lord had with Abraham, just started with Abraham. No, we go all the way back to this right here, what we just read. And what Canaan brothers told him. He said, you done stole the land by war, then you're gonna get rooted out by war. So now let's deal with this. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abraham in a vision, saying, fear not, Abraham, I am thy shield and thy exceedingly great reward. And Abraham said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is Eliezer of Damascus. And Abraham said, behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is my heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, this shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thy bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad and said, look now toward the heavens and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted unto him for righteousness. Now here we go. So the Lord of hosts, he ain't slipping. He going right to the point, right? 7. And he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee up out of the Ur of the Chaldeans to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, take me a heifer 3 years old, and a she-goat 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, divided them in the midst, laid each piece against another, but the birds he divided not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcass, Abraham drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abraham. And lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abraham, more assuredly, thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards they shall come out with great substance, right? Now here we go, verse 15. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace, telling Abraham, you're going to go to your fathers in peace, and thou shalt be buried in good old age. Then 16, but in the 4th generation, they shall come hither again, come back to the land of Canaan, to the land of Shem, right? But in the 4th generation, they should come back hither, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not full. There it is right there. That's what Ham and his brother just told him. Let's read it again. This is the war right here. It's Ham and his brothers talking about. So the Lord of hosts was there. We wasn't. They tricked us, but they ain't tricked him. So he says, 29 in Jubilee chapter 29, right? Chapter 10, verse 29. Canaan saw the land of Lebanon to the river. This is the land of Canaan. The river of Egypt was very good, and he did not go into the land of his inheritance to the west, that is to the sea. He dwelt in the land of Lebanon, eastward and westward, from the borders of Jordan and from the borders of the sea. So, like I said, you do something, you sow a seed, you're gonna reap it, right? So Ham, his father, and Cush and Mezreen, his brothers, said to him, you are settled in a land which is not yours, and which did not fall to you by lot. Do not do so. If you do, and your sons will be conquered, then your sons will be conquered in that land and be accursed, right? Through a war. By war, you have settled, and by war will your children fall, and you will be rooted out. Here it is right here. Most I told him. 15, thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace, thou shalt be buried in good old age, but the 4th generation, they shall come hither again for the iniquity of the Amorites. What's iniquity? We know now what iniquity is. He stole the land. They stole Shem land, displaced them long before Abraham came. So he says, but in the fourth generation, thou shalt come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it came to pass that when the sun that went down in dark sleep it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp passed between the two pieces. So there it is. They stole the land. Then Most High came, brought when they came out of Egypt, they went into, that's how we know Egypt is the place where they went. They was afflicted. They came out with great substance, and then they came and they killed all the Amorites. This prophecy right here came to pass. The Amorites, they knocked off the Canaanites. All they was doing was backtracking what the Canaan had did. Now he brought the Israelites, and they fixed that. They rooted out the Canaanites, the Amorites, the iniquity, the sin that they had committed against Shem way back after the flood. Got corrected right there. That's what this book of Jubilees is revealing. Okay, hammer time. So I'm in Jubilee 21, pertaining to the book of Enoch and Noah. Any comments on that? Everybody good? Okay, I'm in the book of Jubilees again. I'm dealing with the legitimacy of the book of Enoch and the book of Noah. So I'm in Jubilee 21. Okay. Let me get it. Okay. 21 and verse 10. It says, eat his meat, and on the day and on the second day, but do not let the sun go down on it until it is eaten. Let nothing be left over the third day, just the Passover lamb, for it is not acceptable. And let it no longer be eaten, and all who eat of it will bring sin on themselves. For this I have found written in the books of my forefathers, in the words of Enoch and in the words of Noah. There you go, right there. So we know our forefathers was reading the book of Enoch. It's not some mysterious book. And Noah ain't some mysterious book. See, so we see right here, they was referencing these books to these Edomites. These Gentiles came along and hoodwinked them and downgraded them. So now I want to read out of Jubilees 19 and verse 24. It's talking about the effects that keeping the law have on the earth, and the things that the Most High creation that we're not really paying attention to. I'm in 19. Okay. And it says 19 and 24. Let me see, 19. Yeah, 19 24 says, I'm gonna read 23. And all the blessings which the Lord has blessed me and my offspring shall belong to Jacob and his offspring always. In his offspring shall my name be blessed, and the name of my fathers, Shem, Noah, Enoch, Mahalalel, Enoch, Seth, and Adam. And these shall serve to lay the foundation of the heavens. Okay, these men right here, these names, Shem, Noah, Enoch, Mahalalel, Enoch, Seth, and Adam. These shall serve to lay the foundations of the heaven and to the strength of the earth, and to renew all the stars and the planets which are in the sky. 2 on that. I'm gonna read it again. 23. And all the blessings with which the Lord have blessed me, Abraham talking, my my offspring shall belong to Jacob and his offspring always. In his offspring shall my name be blessed, in the name of my fathers, Shem, Noah, Enoch, Mahalalel, Enos, Seth, and Adam. And these shall serve to lay the foundation of the heavens and to strengthen the earth. Come on. And to renew all the stars and the planets which are in the heavens. So now let's look at something, because this is a doozy right here, bro. So we were seeing, let's look at what they done. Okay, we in Matthew, right? We in Matthew chapter 3. We go over this all the time, but we're gonna, with that information right there, it's gonna shine another light on it. Just like Psalms 119 did with David this morning. Okay, so let's look at it. We in Matthew. And it says right here, this is the reason. So they didn't just do this for the hell of it by happenstance. It was the reason they did it. So it says right here, Matthew chapter 2, verse 14. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt I have called my son. Right? So we see that they tell them, they transition this and put Jesus as a son, right? And then he tell you that he got this from a prophet that had prophesied in the Old Testament that Jesus was a son. But when we know who the prophet is Amos, right? So when we go to the book of Amos, let's go there right quick. Let's look at it. Hosea. My bad. Let me get to it in a minute. Got this new Bible right here. Hosea, chapter 11. So let's look at chapter 11. This is the prophet that the verse he was referring to is Hosea 11:1. So it says, when Israel was a child, then I loved him, called my son out of Egypt. So we see now Israel is the son, right? Israel is the son. So they, you figure that was devilish by them doing that. But look what Jubilees tell us. Jubilees tell us in chapter 19, verse 23, all the blessings with which the Lord has blessed me and my offspring shall belong to Jacob and his offspring. There go the son right there. This is why they done it. 24, in his offspring shall my name be blessed, and the name of my father Shem, Noah, Enoch, Mahalalel, Enos, Seth, and Adam. And this is why they did it. And these shall serve to lay the foundations of the heaven and the strength of the earth, and to renew all the stars and the planets which in heaven. That's why it's mandatory to get the right son. See that? And so they've been telling us since we've been in existence, for the last 3,000 years, that he the son. Well, look at the stars and the planets. Look at all the chaos on earth. He ain't the son. So why the stars, the moon, all that all thrown off? The sun's being disrespected. The sun don't know who the hell he is. So all this stuff is out of whack. He says right here, I'm gonna read it again. In his offspring shall my name be blessed, and the name of my father Shem, Noah, Enoch, Mahalalel, Enos, Seth, and Adam. And these shall serve to lay the foundation of the heavens, and to strengthen the earth, and to renew all the stars and the planets which are in the sky. Come on now. Imagine that. That's why they did it. Okay? So with that being said, anybody got any comments on that? That's the effect that Israel got on the Most High's creation. Okay? Let me read this right here, and then we go. We'll close out. It's right here, the hour. I'm in Jubilees in chapter 3. So if you don't have a book of Jubilees, I advise you to get one. Okay? And start reading it and asking questions. Okay? chapter 3 says 27. Let me see, 27 and through 31. Okay, yeah, says on that day on which Adam went out from the garden, he offered a sweet odor and an offering of frankincense and a sweet spice and spices in the morning with the rising of the sun from the day when he uncovered his shame. On that day was closed the mouth of all beasts and of the cattle and the birds and whatever walks and of whatever moves, so that they could no longer speak, for they had all spoken one with another with one dialect and with one language. All flesh that was in the Garden of Eden, he sent out of the Garden of Eden, and all flesh was scattered according to its kind and according to the types, to the places that had been created for them. Of all the beasts and the cattle, only Adam alone he gave the ability to cover his shame. And because of this, it is prescribed. Check it out. Because of all that, because of this, it is prescribed on the heavenly tablets. We talked about this morning, the book of life, the heavenly tablets, as touching all those who know the judgment of the law, that they should cover their shame and should not uncover themselves as the Gentiles uncover themselves. And we talked about that. That's the more people. They ain't come from Adam. The Gentiles, they ain't come from Adam. It's Cain descendants. So they children of the flesh. Everything they do pertains to the flesh. So let's read it again, then we'll close out. Right? This is verse 27. This is when Adam came out of the garden. On that day on which Adam went out from the garden, he offered a sweet odor and an offering of frankincense and incense and a sweet spice and spices in the morning with the rising of the sun from the day when he covered his shame. From the day the Lord of hosts showed him how to cover his shame. On that day was closed the mouth of all beasts and of cattle and of birds and of whatsoever walks and whatsoever moves, so they could no longer speak, for they had all spoken one with another with one dialect and with one language. All flesh that was in the Garden of Eden, he sent out of the Garden of Eden. All flesh was scattered according to their kind, according to types, to the places that had been created for them. Of all the beasts and all the cattle, only to Adam alone he gave the ability to cover his shame. He didn't give it to the Gentile. So I is a king. I is Japhet, his brother. He don't have the ability to cover his shame. So it said, because of this, it is prescribed on the heavenly tablets as touching all those who know the judgment of the law, that they should cover their shame and should not uncover themselves as the Gentiles uncover themselves. See that? So let's look at that. I got two things to bounce off of that. Then I can open up for the Q&A. And then we'll close out. The first one is we go back to the what happened to Noah. Noah said Noah made wine when the flood receded, and Noah made wine, and he was uncovered within his tent. There it is. It's Japhet, Ham, and Noah standing there. Look what we just read. Who the hell you think it is uncovered Noah's shame? There it is right there. Japhet. Right? So now let's look at something else. We're trying to figure out who the hell, excuse me. So they're trying to figure out who you got a problem with your camera, I guess. You're not coming up, Cheryl. So anyway, so you say they're trying to figure out where the lost 10 tribes is, right? And now we found out where they is. They're right there, right there in Africa, because that's where the garden is, right where the Garden of Eden is, right? So now we just read that all the animals that was in the Garden of Eden, he ran out. Well, the Garden of Eden in the same place where the 10 tribes came out. They're all right there in Africa. So now we see why all these damn animals, why Africa is so washed with all these different animals, assortment of animals. He ran them out of the garden too, just like he ran us out. When he put Adam out of there, he ran all the animals out. That's why they so all these providing animals, abundance of animals all over Africa. Think about that. So anybody got any comments or questions before we jet up? Any comments? Questions? Okay, yeah. We're gonna do anything tomorrow. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay. So I'm gonna say shalom. Give me a call. Let me know if we're gonna do something tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna see everybody on Tuesday. If we have something, we do something tomorrow. We're gonna post it. Shalom.
Shalom.
Okay.
Shalom.